Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Everything Anything Podcast. This is a podcast about life, stories, food, music, people, everything and anything that makes us think. My name is Aaron. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this. You are now part of the family, and thank you for joining me on this adventure. Yes, last episode we talked about women. We talked about Jamie Lee Curtis. We talked about Demi Moore. We talked about Michelle Yeoh and how amazing they are in the movie industry and how they inspired me so much recently. And this episode, we are now in episode 3 and we'll talk about more movies. This time we'll focus on a new movie, the new live action adaptation of the classic Snow White movie from 1937. So for those who are still planning to go in the cinema and watch Snow White, please know that there will be a lot of spoilers ahead. So again, if you're planning, please stop this video now or this podcast now. And yes, because there's again a lot of spoilers coming. Okay. Alam ko na you guys, anyone that who is here right now know the story and know the narrative, know the fantastical story of Snow White and her evil stepmother, about the magic mirror, about the poison apple. So I'm gonna go straight. I'm gonna go straight to what I feel was, I think, the biggest problem in the movie. And I think, this is the same with so many people in my generation who grew up watching Disney movies, watching Snow White. Other than, there's quite a few problems, I'd say, in Snow White. Again, this is just my opinion. So other than casting, other than costume, other than cinematography, direction, acting, what I feel like, we adults, especially our generation, watch these movies and continually waiting for more movies like this because these movies, or let's specifically focus on Snow White, this movie brings us back memories of childhood. It's nostalgic. It brings us memories when we were young, beautiful memories, important memories. It brings us back to a point when we still do not have any responsibility. We still see the world in multicolors. We still hope that that magic is real, and we have fairy godmothers, and before the hard truth of life come in contact with our brain, come in contact with our senses, that to live in this world, we have to be somebody, we have to achieve something, we have to prove something, that there are standards to chase in this world. And now we have responsibility, we carry the weight of our everyday problems and some of the world's problems on our shoulders. These movies are meant to be like an escape, and movies are made to tackle different topics. There are movies made to learn history. There are movies made to learn about the earth and how can we save the earth. There are many movies that reminds us of our everyday responsibilities. But Disney movies are meant to be fairy tales, diba? Yeah. When you watch movies like this, you're meant to be happy, you're meant to be giddy, you're meant to be excited. And this feeling that we felt when we were children, also, we want that to pass down to our brothers, our sisters, to the younger generation. We want that. But again, going back, the biggest problem of this movie is this just reminded me of like me having so many responsibilities every day, that I have to be bold, I have to be brave, that I have to be, pressured in making sure that I cover all of my responsibilities every time. Every time I keep on listening to her, and she keeps on saying also, Snow White or Rachel Zegler keeps on saying, I'm looking for my father. My father told me to be fearless, brave, and true. Okay, Snow White, you are running for president, and we are all voting for you. Siguro, it's just sad. It's just sad that we respect artists and their vision for whatever art they have, but at the same time, there's always that thin line of going too much, of doing too much, of changing a lot of the narrative. So yes, yesterday I finally decided to watch it in the cinema. Mga last minute siya actually na decision. So I went to the mall at around like 8:30. I got the 9:30 p.m. ticket. So in the theater that I was in, I'm from the Philippines, by the way. So if you're watching this and you're not from the Philippines, here, before they start the whole movie, other than the trailers, they would also play the version of May Entrata of Nasaan ang Hiling, or the Tagalog version of Waiting for a Wish. Wala akong problem sa song. It's basically a translation lang of the English version that that Rachel Zegler did. And I think maybe medyo literal lang talaga yung translation, but somehow while listening to my Mai singing it, and of course her music video with some of the shots of Snow White, somehow I felt excitement. I felt a little bit of, oh wow, this has some promise, even if alam ko din naman na many people are posting already about how bad the movie is. They're rating the movie very low. I entered the cinema with the goal talaga to enjoy the movie. Sabi ko, okay, enjoy ko na lang to, and let's see kung ano man ma-feel ko. I want to put aside all of the controversies of the characters in the movie, controversy ni Rachel Zegler, controversy ni Gal Gadot, madami. And, talking about the controversy, of course, especially Rachel Zegler, it really did affect, whatever she said. Nag-affect talaga siya. Not really in the movie, but how they market the movie. Medyo ang laki ng epekto. And I think maybe something to learn from lang siguro, just a reminder. Yes, there is free speech, but please know that if you're the front and center of a movie and you're given such a really big opportunity to be the front and center of a movie, please know that your free speech, that whatever you want to talk about, be careful about it. Be careful about it, because whatever your opinion is also represents the opinion of the whole cast and crew. And if it's a problematic opinion, medyo magka-problema yung mga tao, not on top, not the producers, not directors. Maybe they have all their monies already. Pero may mga tao pa sa ilalim eh. May mga tao pa sa ilalim who depended on this movie to go big and to earn money. So always remember, pag nasa top ka, always remember that there are people below you who are expecting for whatever you're doing is to earn money. Right? Just a reminder to everybody. I want to divide it into the different parts of the movie. And I want to talk first about the story itself. I understand. I understand naman how they want to tell the story. Somehow, whatever the narrative that they created about this, I'd say, new Snow White, well supported naman siya. Gets ko naman bakit Snow White yung pangalan niya and everything in between. But again, let's go back to the problem. The story is the problem, actually. This is not the Snow White narrative that I grew up watching, This is not the Snow White. This is another Snow White's narrative na, baka Snow White din pangalan niya, and she keeps on finding her father, kung saan ba talaga yung father niya, akala niya hindi pa patay, and then, her leading her kingdom after the death of her father, which eventually was told because, the queen in this movie killed her father. It makes me question, what's wrong ba with the first movie? Maybe, gets ko, maybe yung plot ng first movie, kasi 1937 siya ginawa, medyo thin pa. But there's always, as artists, may ways talaga tayo to thicken a plot without changing the whole direction of the movie. And we can learn from movies like Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Little Mermaid. Kita naman natin in the live action versions of these movie, we know naman na, okay, may changes, di ba? May changes siya, but they had so much respect for the original versions of this movie. They added a little more storylines, additional storylines to understand more of the characters, and that's okay. But as long as you respect the original piece, again, this is just an adapted piece, you should make it, di ba? And yun, medyo story pa lang, tagilid na talaga. And yan yung importanteng part talaga when you're writing stories and when you're telling stories, the story, diba? Okay. Before I go to the negative things, I'm gonna first focus on the good things. One of the good things in the film is their sound design. I love their sound design. Especially kay Gal Gadot na character, the Evil Queen's character, I love it. Every moment na mag-move siya, nagsasound yung mga jewelries niya, yung mga gems niya dito, may chime, ganun. I love that work. And maganda yung sound design actually. Also, music is good. Waiting on a Wish is like my gym music for a while. Lagi ko na siyang niluloop. And yung song na yan, naging parang top na ng, anong tawag doon sa Spotify? Basta, naging top na siya sa Spotify ko na I keep on listening to it. And Waiting on a Wish is a music or is a song written by Benj Pasek and Justin Paul, and they're also the people behind City of Stars from La La Land, if you guys are familiar. And that song from La La Land won an Oscar for Best Original Song. You know, so of course, magaling talaga to. Yung dalawang to, they wrote the lyrics for this for this music in the movie. And of course, even Whistle While You Work, may changes to Whistle While You Work, but it's still it still reminds you of the original Whistle While You Work, diba? But since we're talking about music, I don't like the song of Gal Gadot. I don't like the Evil Queen's song. I don't know, it's just, I don't want to say any other word, but I don't like it. I don't also like Princess Problem na song. And some of the songs, other than these two songs, parang I can't remember any, you know. Ewan ko ba nakatulog ako while they were like doing the songs, you know. And this is my favorite part of the film. If there is something to me na parang nag-affect, nakasabi ako na, oh, this reminds me of the Snow White movie I grew up watching, it's the dwarfs. You know, again, it's very Snow White. They're funny, they're adorable, parang, you know, may added layer of personality na ginawa sa kanilang characters, and very witty writing of the lines. You know, Dopey, so cute. They're all so cute. And alam ko, others have issue with the CGI thing. But ako wala akong issue because this is like the premise of Snow White. These people are meant to be fantastical. They're not even people. These characters are meant to be fantastical. So, you know, they're human-like, but they're not really human, diba? So, may mga issue yung ibang tao. But for me, it's just okay lang kasi they look magical. They don't look like people because they're not meant to be people. They're not people naman at the end of the day. If you look at in Oxford, you know, dwarves are like part of of folklore or like fantasy literature. So they're not meant to be like real people, diba? And oh my god, the high ho, amazing. The dig number, doon ako nagka-goosebumps. Oh my god, this is the Snow White movie I wanted to watch. You know, yung mga dwarfs, yun yung gusto kong mapanood. You know, and every time na yung dwarfs nasa screen, that reminded me na, okay, this is the Snow White I want to watch, you know. So, parang na-realize ko, everything that is almost like the first movie, parang makes me happy. And maybe that's just the magic of really respecting the original Snow White, diba? Okay. Now, let's focus more on other things. Let's focus first on costume design. Okay, I will be honest here. Parang there's some choices in the costume design that really downgraded the looks, really downgraded the costume. Maybe yung choices ng fabric, maybe, especially sa Evil Queen na costume, medyo, sorry for the term, but it really looked cheap. The choices ng fabric, and maybe the choices of the shade of color, medyo reminiscent naman talaga siya sa original color ng costume ng Evil Queen, but it looks, oh my god, I don't know, it looks cheap. And just a genuine question, like, was that intentional? That to make that look a little, you know, less expensive, ganon. And even with Snow White, I don't know, there's something about the Snow White costume na very, I don't know, parang you buy it or you rent it in costume stores. That's really true. I found the same comments online na parang, again, sorry for the word, but they look cheap. Maybe it's with the color choices, parang ang bright talaga ng yellow. That's why it makes it very costumey and not very realistic in a way that they want. for it to be. And after costume, of course, we talk about the hair. And ito yung part na medyo na-disappoint ako kasi ang daming continuity issues sa hair ni Snow White. And it's a problem because continuity problems with a company like Disney, with a production like Disney, dapat hindi na yun issue because they've been in the industry for a while. And not just a while, but they've been like one of the pillars of the movie industry, diba? Of the animated movie industry. Pero ang daming continuity mistakes sa ibang shot. Messy yung hair ni Snow White. Sa ibang shot, super sleek naman. Parang hindi siya continuous yung type ng hair na winner ni Rachel Zegler. And parang, I don't know, it's stiff. The hair is stiff in a way that makes it like weird because it's stiff. And I think of all of the elements sana of the production, ito yung dapat. The hairstyle is meant to really reflect how the real hair works. This is where realism should be really, should be applied. You know, like parang, it's just common sense. What happens to the hair pag active ka ng person, nag-clean ka all day? Neat pa din ba yung hair mo? Or nahulog ka na nga sa river, wala ka pang blow dryer? You know, that's where being a human come in. You know, again, sorry, but common sense should come in. You know, even sa Little Mermaid, the making of the Little Mermaid, they studied the hair of Ariel. You know, paano siya mag-flow in water. You know, those are like the type of research that you should do in movies like this. Because again, we still need a little bit of realism here. And again, with a very crucial part of Snow White's character, which is her hair, dapat dun tinutok dapat yung madaming research and everything. But I don't know why did they chose those. Why did they chose for the hair to be that flat and that, I don't know, sculpted in a way, parang drag hair siya somehow sometimes. And okay, next, after the hair, I want to talk about casting. I want to talk about acting, which for me, pasensya na, but this is where for me the biggest flaw is. Number one, Rachel is not ugly. I don't care about her race, whatever her race is. I respect that. It's okay. As long as kasi she looks like the character. The problem is, Rachel has very strong facial features. I don't find her ugly. She has her own... She is beautiful in her own way. But to me, she's not Snow White. And sometimes, I don't think she's intentionally overacting. But again, with her facial features, mga subtle movements lang sana of like reacting to what the other person is saying, but it looks like it's overacted again because of her facial features. That's why good casting directors are important for movies like this, because the face value, your bone structures on your face should be considered if you are if you look like the character that you are portraying. And you know, as what, and again, going back, we grew up knowing that Snow White has soft features. And if I can remember like a Snow White movie before, it's like Lily Collins. For me, she's a good example. Sana nag-study na lang sila sa Mirror Mirror na movie. Like Lily Collins. Magandang Snow White yun eh. Parang ganun yung, for me, features ng character or actors na need natin for something like Snow White. You know, and or go the other way around. Since they want to fight for something, since they want to stand for something, with this movie, you know, sana they hired new actresses, no, and even including the Evil Queen, sana they change Gal Gadot, you know, para in the real world, it's giving like, oh, we are opening the opportunities for new actors, so we are hiring new actors, you know, magagamit pa yun as an angle for marketing, di ba? New actors, new opportunities, ganon, di ba? And after Rachel, of course, si Gal Gadot, the Evil Queen. Again, if I go back to some of the Snow White adaptation, yung mga Evil Queen doon, I'll read it here. Sa isa, si Julia Roberts. And sa isa, the other Snow White movie is Charlize Theron. I don't know, ang hirap ng pangalan, but si Charlize Theron. Two of these are Oscar winners, guys. And they're just really good in what they're doing. And then, layer pa natin. Other Disney villains are portrayed by Kate Blanchett, are portrayed by Melissa McCartney. And to think about it, mas kailangan natin siguro, I mean, sana when they were hiring, they consider these other villains, these other actors who played villain characters, women villain characters in Disney movies. Did they forget but that their Disney villains are iconic or even more iconic than their princesses? Parang na-forget nila. And Gal Gadot, pasensya na sa mga fans ni Gal, but she's not yet at the level of Julia Roberts, of Kate Blanchett when it comes to acting. And she's a really big part of the movie. And other than the casting of Gal Gadot, parang the way they portray the villain here or the evil queen here, parang lagi siya sa screen. And what I love with the classic Snow White is yung evil queen, parang less lang siya sa movie. Parang, parang there's something mysterious about the evil queen and the first Snow White that makes her like the VIP. I don't have to be always on screen or in the shots all the time, but if I am in the shot, I will be present. You will see me. Parang ganong type. And dito, parang ang daming shots ni Gal, ginawan pa siya ng number. Parang, the mystery that we love about how they portray the classic evil queen is really nice. Parang it makes me question, bakit ba ginawa nila nito yung mga tawag doon, yung mga musical numbers para lang to lengthen the movie, and it's just most of it are just unnecessary. Ang daming parang pinilit, forced na mga musical numbers, Yeah. And again, another one, let's talk about the cinematography. For me, my part ng cinematography talaga, or there's a part of the movie that is meant to be the highlight scene, where the scene you get all of the goosebumps, no? But I don't know, but there's just a few shots, Sana mas maganda if merong mga more cinematic shots, more creative shots, maraming mga close-ups, may mga silhouettes, sana mas moody yung color, sana mas creative yung shots again. And they just gave us like a mid-shot, full shot, like in between those types of shots. Na shot ni Rachel Zegler with all of the people walking behind her and singing like a song, a new song, or like a hum or whatever, an anthem, whatever is that. Yun yung sabi ko, sayang, sana if they want it to be like, okay, this is the moment of truth, this is when Snow White meets the queen, sana mas creative pa talaga yung shots, diba? And even the ending, I do not like the ending. It's just a weird ending for me. So guys, what do you think? Did Disney go too far? For me, yes, they did. And I've presented all of the facts, all of my observations that really made me believe that Disney did go too far on this one. Do they deserve the bad critics? I'm sorry, but I feel like yes, they do deserve it. Because in this industry, in this industry, many things in the industry, in the world even, many great relevant changes came or happened because people never stop talking. And as creative, we should know that when we put our output out there, we are opening it up to public judgment. We are opening it up to public opinion, good or bad. But eventually, we will learn what to believe from all of the noises lamang. And also siguro, to end this episode, it's a lesson of respect. When you're given an opportunity to create something classic, it's like sacred to change it. Something iconic. Do it with respect. If you're given a chance to do a classic movie, a remake of a classic movie, do it with respect. Add layers to other characters. But again, always do it with respect. Respect to your fellow creators before you who made this movie. Respect to the material. And also for the words and the characters of this movie that we all love. So that's my take on the new Snow White movie. What about you? Are you still planning to watch it? Thank you everyone for watching. This is Everything Anything podcast. I will be back for episode 4. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Everything Anything on YouTube, and also our IG, Everything Anything Online. Again, guys, thank you so much for listening or watching. You are now part of the family. You're part of the adventure, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye.